Hello. Welcome. Welcome. How's it going? Majestic Potato. Hello. The standard manufacturing DP12. Very nice. Not the BAFTA. Welcome. Bren Mark 1. nicer than the DP12. I'm early. We are early today. We started early today. Very good. Everybody clap for your streamer. But yeah, starting a little early today. So today's planned stream happened yesterday. And so today, we're not going to do what was planned for yesterday. Because I was struck by inspiration, you could call it. You also could call it like an ADD fueled hyperfixation. But it really what's the difference? But the guns are kind of the same as they were yesterday. This one here though, got the calico back out. Which is related to my current hyperfixation of what on earth is going on behind the scenes of the calico. For example, did you know that in 2012, Calico showed up to SHOT Show with a Helical Magazine 12-gauge shotgun? Probably not. I didn't know that. But they did. I've been learning very much. Been learning very much. And so what we're doing today's a video watching stream. Today we're going to be learning. We're going to be deep diving, if you will. Semi-auto or pump? I don't know. All there is pictures of it. I couldn't find any videos of it. If you can find any videos of it, please I need them. But I can only find super terrible quality pictures of it. One of them is just a rendering. But here are the two pictures. Here are the two pictures I can find. So there's this one of it up like on a rack next to the M950, it looks like. And the Liberty something T. But then you've got this. It looks like it's probably a pump. This is probably a pump right here. But it is going to be downward ejecting. We also have this picture, which is literally just this picture turned sideways. The two pictures I found are the same picture, just oriented differently. So this is, as far as I can tell, the only picture of this thing on the internet. Zoom, enhance. This is as far as we can zoom. Because then it gets smaller again. So, according to the caption here, it's 25 round helical magazine here on top with wood stock Open image in new tab. It's Reddit. It's Reddit. So if we open it in new tab, this is how it opens. Very handy. Actually, hold on. If we save image, we can save the image, open the image. Now we can enhance further. All right, so here we go. Here's our Calico shotgun. It's not mine, sadly. So it has this, I can't tell if this is a pump handle or just some forend, because it does still have a charging handle right here. So I'm not sure what's going on. Not sure what's going on with that. But it is on a different receiver. So all the other Calicos, the Calico 9mm, all the Calico 9mm are on the same receiver. All the Calico 22s are also on the same receiver. Two receivers there. Calico shotgun, different receiver. From all the information I can find about this thing, which is not a lot, most of what I found about this thing is just purely like guessing. Matilda, hello. But from what I can tell, Calico was fighting with the ATF. This is unconfirmed information, conjecture. But Calico seems to have been fighting with the ATF on whether or not this would be a destructive device, like the Street Sweeper or Striker 12. So that may be why we never saw any more of this. It also could be that Calico is a small company and just didn't have the money to develop an entirely new platform. But it's probably the ATF's fault. It's probably the ATF's fault. Yeah, Calico shotgun. Very, very neat. But today's stream, we're doing a Calico deep dive. We're gonna consume all Calico media on the internet, which is surprisingly little. Shh. Shh. Why are you not on silent? Shush. Nobody wants to hear my phone vibrating. All right. So that's what we're doing today. We're consuming Calico media, starting with the only reasonable option.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in
Gun
to
Jesus.
the video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today take a look at the 9mm versions of the Calico light weapons system. We have a carbine and a pistol here to check out today, and they are mechanically identical. It is there are a couple different form factors on the same base system. So that system was put together by two guys named Michael Miller and Warren Stockton in the mid-1980s, came onto the market commercially just a few years after that.
My Calico.
What they have is
has a slightly different safety on it. This is probably going to be an old version of some kind, but they changed their safety design at some point along the way. So here you've got a safety located kind of in the front of this thing. It's going to pivot in this corner. My Calico, the safety is located back a little bit. It's not up in the corner, and it rotates forward and back just a little bit, like probably like 30-degree rotation or something. And it is ambidextrous. So at some point, Calico did change the safety design for, I don't know why.
Combination of actually a roller delayed blowback locking system. Well, not quite locking system. And a very interesting and rather creative and innovative helical magazine design. So really the heart of the Calico system is...
This also has a rail up here. I don't know if they make that anymore.
Technology, the magazine design, the magazine patents. The 22 and 9mm magazines work a little bit differently, but we'll pull apart one of the 9mm ones here today to show you. And what you get essentially is in this relatively compact magazine, 100 rounds. And then there's the shorter version that holds 50. And unlike any other magazine system that can hold 100 rounds, this one actually fits fairly nicely on the gun. I would say the other relatively common firearm out there that uses this sort of form factor is the FNP90, although it does not use a helical system. The Calico was not the first helical magazine ever to be developed or produced. We can actually see a helical magazine in the Evans rifle way back in the 1880s. And I have a video on the Evans. If you're interested, definitely check that one out. I'll link to it at the end of this video. But what
did we watch the Evans video
had in mind was basically a submachine gun that had a massive ammunition capacity advantage over everything else in its field. And they weren't wrong. Now, the problem was there were a few practical issues that got in the way, and then there was a huge legal issue that got in the way. So let's start by taking a closer look at this. I'll pull it apart.
The omnibus,
there's a lot of clever elements that went into this mechanically.
Ban.
It just all kind of came down to, does it work? As I said at the beginning, the mechanical core of the Calico is identical between the rifles and the pistols. So we're going to start by taking a look at the pistol because it's just a lot more compact and easier to work with and show you. So first bit of unusualness with the Calico is that the front sight is located out here on this tower that is an integral part of the gun. If I squeeze these two mag catches right there, I can pop this magazine off. So there's your front sight, windage and elevation adjustable. The rear sight, however, is actually located on the magazine. You have the option of either an aperture.
Got to zero your magazine.
Notch.
You don't actually.
But
you
what
don't
this
zero your
means
magazine.
is that every magazine has its own rear sight. Now, the Calico was never really marketed as a precision target sort of thing. So I'm actually kind of curious as to exactly how much wobble or how much play there is between different magazines. But you do certainly have the potential of, well, kind of like interchangeable machine gun barrels where the rear, like where the front sight's mounted on the barrel and the rear sight on the gun. Every time you change mags, you might change your zero. By the way, the 50-round and 100-round magazines both fit on all of the different guns, making this a particularly bulky thing here, but it does work.
I should get the 100-round magazine.
The muzzle brake on the end was an optional accessory.
It's expensive, though.
The barrels are not threaded; they just have a little pin.
Ian, Gun Jesus, what are you doing? Why is the screw all caked with
and
grossness?
Cut in them so that you can press this on
Clean
and
that out.
pin it in place. Neat idea. As you'll see in just a moment, it does prevent you from taking off the forend or the charging handle. So basic controls of the Calico, we should go over those. We have a charging handle on the left side. It is non-reciprocating, and in fact, its return spring is up here under the handguard. We then have a safety.
It's still a pretty short throw safety.
Back to cock it. You can see that pin sticking out there. That is
we'll get a
the
635 DOE video
Obviously,
from Forgotten
this
Weapons
feeds
tomorrow.
from the top. It ejects out the bottom. That what looks like a magazine well.
Very possibly. It depends on whether or not they sent him one. Honestly, that's going to be what it comes down to. The Real Rose. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, Forgotten Weapons. I don't know. Forgotten Weapons has been doing a little bit more videos about interesting new releases, so it's possible. It's definitely possible. The Real Rose. Yes. Yep. Gotta mix the the username in there so that I have at least a chance to remember it. This is the old California. I noticed. Thank you for making me pause there. This is the old California grip module, because the new one, not open on the bottom. It's got a cover now.
Well, here is actually the ejection port, and then we have a 2-position or 3-position if you had one of the law enforcement full auto ones. Safety.
What guns today? Today we have, honestly, mostly the same guns as yesterday, because I didn't switch them out because I was feeling a little lazy. But new, in addition to the FAL 1911 and the Boberg kind of peeking out over here behind my shoulder, we have the Calico. This is the Calico Liberty 3 pistol. Very, very cool gun. FAL, yes, FAL right there. But this gun, little pistol, it's a big pistol. Got a 50-round standard magazine with it. Goes on the top. And today we are basically deep diving into these and the company behind them. Handing out thigh hugs again, I see today. giving thigh hugs again. Very nice.
The safety is also ambidextrous. Kind of cool, actually, that the Calico is a almost totally ambidextrous gun. The safety, the ejection are both ambi. The charging handle's not, of course, and there is a bolt hold open. There's not an automatic bolt hold open, but there is a manual one. And interestingly, if you push this in, we can, let's see, pull the bolt back to there, and I can lock the bolt open halfway.
So the bolt hold
which
open
is intended to be used to check to see if the thing's loaded.
The 2-position bolt hold open.
I can then also, if I hold the bolt latch down, there we go, I can open the.
That is interesting. Hold on. My version does not hold it open right there.
Lalo___ just traded with 3 viewers.
Lalo, or Lalo, according to text-to-speech. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Raiders. How is it going? For those who do not know who I am, hello. I am the X-Count, a vampire VTuber. We do a lot of gun-related content here. We were just about to compare my Calico to the Forgotten Weapons one that he is doing, because I have a slightly different version. But hello, welcome. Oh, I should give a shout out. What am I doing? What am I doing? Washed up streamer. If I can figure out how to do it. There you go. There you go. What were you playing? And was it good? Welcome. Haven't Calicos been the same ever since the 90s? No, actually. They have not, which is what we are exploring right now. Today we are basically doing a deep dive on Calico. So, taking a look at mine here. So this one here, this Calico, got the
if I hold the bolt
two position
latch down, there we go.
Bolt hold open.
There is a bolt hold open. There's not an automatic bolt hold open, but there is a manual one. And interestingly, if you push this in,
so this one here,
let's see, pull the bolt back to there, and I can lock the bolt open.
Has the partial bolt hold open right there. Mine, the partial bolt hold open, is right there. About the same. That's about the same. But
halfway, which is intended to be used to check to see if the thing's loaded. I can
bolt. Yeah, so the bolt's going to be this little silver thing in here. That's going to be what contains the ammo that's being fired. Calico feels like a company that died at least 20 years ago, despite still existing. It did, actually.
And then also, if I hold the bolt latch down, there we go.
And he's got his second bolt hold open with the bolt near flush with the back of this hole. Mine, the second bolt hold open, is only right there. That is very different. So you've got bolt hold open there, not holding it. Bolt hold open there. But if I really crank this all the way back, it doesn't hold open. This is the second bolt hold open in a different spot. What kind of ammo? This is 9mm. So the changes to this from the original 900 series. The safety's in a different spot. Ads, not ads. I will wait for the ads. BRB. I'm looking at this. I wonder if it's supposed to be locking open there. I mean, from the bottom there, it looks locked open. From the top, it is definitely not. FAL. We can pet the FAL. The Calico is going to be getting a lot of attention today. Try to wait till ads done here. We can sit here with our villain hands. FAL needs attention. FAL will get so much attention. It'll be fine. There we go. FAL petted. Okay, so changes before the ads happened. Changes to the Calico. Since its original like 900 series. I really love these things. I do really love these things. So changes from the original 900 series to this is the Liberty 3 pistol. Very similar. So the grip frame down here, this is now made not in their Oregon facility, but close to it. So this is made in a different factory. You got quite a bit of subtle changes to the grips here. Grip frame. So your safety Hold on, we can zoom in. So your safety is in a different spot. So on the original ones, your safety, I need a pointer. Your safety would be just up here, nestled into that little corner, and it would rotate like that. Now it is located and pivoting back here, and you can push it back kind of into the trigger guard for safe and out of the trigger guard for fire. So that's probably one of the bigger changes, which is not a big change. They also, this used to be just an open hole. They put a cover on that. A few subtle changes like that. But Guns and Knives, hello, welcome. Today we are Calico deep diving. I gotta go. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Have a good wherever you're going.
I can open the bolt all the way and lock it in that position as well. And from either one, you just push this lever in and it'll drop the bolt forward. You saw the magazine release a moment ago. They are just these two catches that lock into the mag. And then there is a notch here at the front that hooks into this recess in the magazine, like so, and that locks it in place. Now, disassembly is done by a single pin, although you do have to dry fire it first to drop the striker. There we go. Then we just push this pin out.
My pin is much harder to get
kind
out.
of hold it in there.
I guess the hole is a little tighter.
Once this pin comes out, you basically are able to separate three main components of the gun. You can pull the handguard off the front, although because this has a muzzle brake, it won't come off.
Mine also has a different style of muzzle brake. Speaking of differences that I just noticed, the muzzle brake on mine is a two-piece muzzle brake. You've got a part that screws on and a part that tightens backwards against it. 3 straight ports on the top. The one here looks like a single piece with 3 slanted cuts on the top.
Unless I take the muzzle brake off, but that's okay. There's really nothing up there. You can then take the grip assembly and just slide it back off of the receiver. You have this. This gives us our safety, which simply lifts up that and
the safety in there, while it's located in a different spot, functions exactly the same. It just pushes up the little guy, pushes up this little guy. And that is a secondary safety to like catch the bolt in case something happens. And also, this pushes up against the bolt so that if the bolt is in the wrong position, you can't turn the safety on. You see my barrel is threaded. The one in the video is pinned on. Yeah, mine is threaded. Yeah, the one in the video is the old version. I'm not sure why it's pinned on. It could be because these were being made in California at the time. They had to meet some strange requirement for that.
The bolt in place. The trigger mechanism is at the rear. And when I pull the trigger, it's just going to drop that hook. There is a semi-auto disconnector here, so it'll only fire once. Moving to the receiver itself, we have the actual bolt mechanism, which comes out as a single self-contained unit. Pop it back with the charging handle. There we go. So that comes out. That leaves us with just an empty shell of a receiver. The charging handle normally would come off the front. It sits right there. The Action uses a roller delayed locking system, just like HK, taken from HK, in fact. So when this is all the way in
HK stolen
battery,
design.
these two rollers push out into recesses in the receiver. And you can see those two recesses right here and here in the receiver. There are these hexagonal bars that are used.
Oh, that is another change. The hexagonal bars were switched out with a kind of a trapezoid shape. It's kind of angled and pressed in there.
As the actual locking surfaces. Note that they are both pinned in place, so if anything goes wrong or if you need to change headspace, you can take these out and replace them. I don't think anyone ever has in the history of Calico, but it would make sense as a manufacturing technique. When you fire and pressure pushes back on this whole assembly, it is going to push backward against these two captive recoil springs. However, the two rollers have to push inward first, so the bolt head is going to stay in place, and it is going to push the bolt body here backward. Once the rollers can go all the way in, then the whole thing can cycle backwards. Now we have an additional part here that you don't have on an HK system, and that is the
linear
actual
hammer
striker. So there is a firing pin inside the bolt head here, and you can see it right there. There it is. It's sticking out a little bit now. When the striker goes forward, it's going to hit the firing pin and push it out the bolt face to fire. So the bit that you saw in the trigger mechanism right here, that little hook is holding this back in this position. There we go. That little tongue on the front is there to keep everything lined up. It's got its own guide rod up here, and this top spring is the striker spring. So that goes forward and snap, fires, and then the whole thing reciprocates against actually all three of the springs simultaneously. The guide rod here is kind of cool in that it is a single guide rod that comes up and bends around the front, and they actually use that in the receiver. That guide rod loops around this lug and holds the whole bolt group.
The design of these is very clever.
Now,
from a manufacturing
magazine
standpoint,
is really the heart of this system. So we've got a 50 rounder here. There are 4 viewing ports through, and there are numbers here at when this one's filled, when you can see a cartridge in it, the mag's full, and then you've got spots for 37, 23, and 9, and that's just based on how many cartridges stack up in this thing at the 12 o'clock top position. There is a winding spring and a handle at the back. And the deal with these is that they have a ratcheting sort of clutch mechanism inside. You've got a spring that you have to wind up in order to tension the magazine to use it. Specifically, for a 50-round magazine, fully loaded, it needs 10 revolutions of this winder. For a 100-round magazine, it needs 23 revolutions. There's a button in the center that allows you to remove all the spring pressure. Plop, like that. That makes this actually a really easy magazine to load, because you can load it without any spring tension being needed. And you can say load it halfway up, which will half wind. It'll put a number of revolutions on the spring, and you can then use the clutch here to remove the spring tension so that you can finish winding it. You can leave the magazines loaded without any spring tension on them. Like, this is all a pretty good system.
Leaving magazines loaded without spring tension.
The way that we disassemble this is also pretty easy. And you need to, most magazines, you pull the floor plate, pull the follower out, and you can wipe them out if they get dirty inside. Well, as you might imagine, a helical spiral drum like this is going to be particularly susceptible to any dirt. So you need to be able to clean it out. To do that, you slide this top bar forward just enough that it will come off. It has a little interrupted set of
oh my goodness, it does. There. Oh my goodness, my magazine disassembles.
Put that aside, and then we can pop this open like so.
Not very easily.
That all the internal bits stay on one side. And then we have a second spring on the bottom. There we go. So
the magazine, this little top slidey bit, it does in fact come off. I thought this was just a thing that you could never take apart. I mean, in the instruction manual, it says never take it apart, but now that I know it comes apart, guess what we're doing? We're taking it apart. It's very stiff. Oh my goodness. There we go. And it never worked the same again. It did not. It may not. Oh. This may never go back together. We've got our very dirty little like leaf spring on the bottom. And there's the inside of the Calico magazine. The follower there. Just kind of a loose piece in there. Oh, there's the spring. This is coming apart more than I expected it to. Don't know how to get that off the rest of the way. I don't really want to just pull it off. Probably have to angle it correctly or something. How else can you change your magazine clutch? It's a good question. What did I take apart? This is the magazine for the Calico. We've got it in pieces down here. I zoomed in a little too much to be able to see it. Now we get to see if we can put this back together. Oh, that is spring tensioned in here. This is your magazine feed lip under spring tension. Interesting. All right, now to put this back together. Or what I meant is now time to throw the stuff all over my room. I think we can just put the follower in afterwards. So there we go. Got part of it together. Orientation of this probably matters. I think it goes like that. There we go. Does this just freely spin around? Oh, that might actually have to be in the correct spot in there, now that I'm thinking about this. Can't just put that in there willy-nilly, probably. Let's put that where it's supposed to go. And then put this on. Okay, this is a little more complicated than I wanted it to be. Okay, we're getting there. Eventually. It is perfectly upside down. All right, we're man, who thought it was a good idea to take this apart? What an idiot. Come on. Come on. There we go. We take our spring. I guess, do we just hold this in place? Now hold the spring in place. Put that back on. This was a terrible idea. Who made me take this apart? Nobody. It was my fault. Come on. Come on. There we go. And I think we don't actually have to push this all the way forward to get it. Now that I'm seeing it, it does have little an interrupted little ridge in there. I think we should be able to just snap this on somewhere and then push it back. There we go. And that's the Calico magazine. Never once did I doubt that that was going to go back together. There we go. But something he has not mentioned yet in the video, and he may get to it. But so your detensioning button is right there. So if we spin this a bit, press that button, takes the tension off the magazine. But when this is on the gun, you don't want it losing tension. So this button, you can see the little bar sticking out right there. That is all the same piece, or rather it's all connected. So when you push this on here, you have a little ridge right there, goes in this hole, so that you cannot press the button to detension your spring while the gun is loaded. And the magazine is not going onto the gun, which means I put it together wrong somehow. That's fun. Just slap it harder, it'll go on. What did I do wrong? Oh, I see what I did wrong. I think that little leaf spring isn't quite on all the way. It is not. So this little spring, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. This little spring here on the bottom, it's holding the bottom of this together. It's got a little gap on the front. So while I probably could hammer it on, I'm not going to. So we're going to open this a little bit again. I'm gonna try to do this without completely taking this apart. See if we can push that on the rest of the way. Come on, go on. You can do it. Maybe. Oh, there we go. That feels good. That feels good. So now we got that on properly. Nice satisfying snap back together. Put that on. There we go. Ah, that's nicer. So if you have the Calico, careful with your magazine. There's probably a reason why it says in the manual not to take that apart. And I think we discovered it. But, so now that we can put the magazine on, this little nub interacts with that little peg sticking out down there. So when that is attached, button does not press. You're not much of a gunswoman. You're utterly clueless. That is okay. That is okay. I tend to take for granted all of the arguably not useful information that I know. So feel free to ask if I say something that may sound like I'm saying it like it's common knowledge. It's probably not. Got it back together, and I have to re-zero the magazine. I mean, the site's it's in about the same spot. But for all the jokes about re-zeroing the magazine, the site on here is not zeroable. All of your zeroing is done with the two knobs on the side of this. I don't remember which one does which. I don't remember which one is elevation and which one is windage. But one of them adjusts up and down. The other one adjusts side to side. The only thing you know is the names of certain guns. That's all most people know, honestly. Like the FAL. If you know the name of the FAL, you are ahead of many people. I do also kind of tend to gravitate towards particularly strange things, such as, but not limited to, Calico, Boberg, the odd ones. Desert Eagle. Desert Eagle is very neat. I do need to get one of those eventually, but they're a little expensive.
This guy holds the bottom of the magazine together. This is the follower, and this is the central hub of the...
They changed the color of the follower. Mine's orange. You only know the name of one gun, and it's Kevin. What gun's name is Kevin? Colt Python 2? Colt Python's a pretty common one. That one shows up in a lot of pop culture, pop media. The Remington SR8. I almost know what that is. Oh, okay, that was just one of their contract rifles.
The magazine, I suppose. And the follower is going to spin in this spiral track. Let's see if we can hold this all in place. There we go. The follower is going to spin around like that. Now, what's interesting about this magazine is this is not just a single stack of cartridges.
You've noticed VTubers.
You might imagine this stacked up something like this, wound around the central.
You got to be proficient.
Coil. And while that's feasible, what Calico opted to do was actually increase the capacity beyond just that. So if I put the follower in place there, I've got one cartridge that's going to sit right there in the central spindle, but then this is basically a double stack helical drum. So as you can see, every second round sits on the main spindle, and every other round sits pushed out away from it.
The double stack helical is very cool. Big fan of that.
So you can't really see the inside of this because, of course, it'll all fall apart, and I don't have a transparent one to show you. But
why don't they make a transparent one? They should. Calico should make a transparent magazine. Like they contract with a company to do the injection molding of the pieces. It's not impossible that they could do it. Kevin is also known as the Micro Desert Eagle. Kevin ZP. Wait, wait, you weren't kidding. Wait, wait, you weren't kidding. It's not, it's definitely not a Desert Eagle. Micro Desert Eagle. Magnum Research. Kevin. That's great. If I... So this is 9mm Makarov and 380. If I ever just like came across one of these, like in a pawn shop or something, I would probably buy it. You wish we got Kevin in the United States? I mean, according to the Wikipedia page, which is clearly always correct about guns, said it was manufactured and sold in the United States by Magnum Research as the Micro Desert Eagle. So not quite the Kevin. You don't find the Kevin marked ones? Yeah. That is so small. I can't tell if this is actually like a small gun from this picture, or if it's just like really oddly shaped. Or both. It's possible it's both. Both. Because it looks like the trigger guard is too large for it. And just going off the magazine size, if that's 380, it looks like a really awkwardly shaped gun. I guess probably 9 Makarov, because Kevin is the European. No, it says 380. Well, so much for that. It is 380. That looks terrible to hold. Primarily as the secondary concealed weapon for law enforcement officers. Interesting. I did not know about the Kevin. I learned something today. We're learning today. Clear plastics can't be fiber reinforced? Not with that attitude. And I feel like, because the walls of this magazine they're not particularly thin. Like you could do like a translucent kind of magazine, not like perfectly clear probably. Like a translucent. Just like the two halves of the clamshell, do a translucent. Just keep everything else the same, honestly. Like you don't need a translucent front and back or rod in the middle. They make a translucent mag? Calico? They don't make it anymore, I don't think. I don't think I saw it in their products. It's not in their products. You might have to go find an aftermarket one. Oh wait, no, they do. Wait. Wait, if you search Google for a Calico transparent magazine, you can get to this page. But if you just go to products, it's not there. It's under replacement parts. Oh, I was just looking in regular accessories. Upgrade for, I mean, $20. This is the 100 round one. Did they make 50 round? It's too many parts to scroll through. They do. Also $20. Huh. Very cool. See, I knew it was possible. I knew it was possible. Whenever I order a second Calico, I'll have to add one of these to my order. Probably the 100 round one, because that's neater. Why don't they just sell pre-assembled magazines? Probably because their website is bad. I love Calico. Their website makes it look like they're trying to steal your money. Because it's Calico. Yeah. Honestly, if I was at all inclined for web design, if I was at all good at it, I would legitimately offer a free service to Calico to redesign their website to make it not look like something that was like put up as a scam. Do they also have transparent for their 22s? Probably. You can buy the outer shell in just halves. Like, oh, I only broke the left side. Interesting. I don't see any transparent 22 magazines. Nope. Transparent mags only come in 9mm. They do come in 22. Oh, there it is. I just scrolled past it. Smoke shell kit, $20. I mean, honestly, if you've got one, $20 for a neat little upgrade. Calico 100 round smoked shell kit. Wow, and impress your friends. I'm pretty sure you're already gonna turn heads with just the regular one, but it is cool. Man, now I need another Calico, even sooner than I did before.
This is, in fact, a double stack helical magazine, which is really pretty cool. Just like a typical double stack single feed pistol magazine, this does in fact come out as just a single feed system. And what we have here is one fixed feed lip and then one metal that is spring loaded. And there's a little notch in the receiver right here on this side. So the bolt will actually hit this as it comes forward, press this spring-loaded feed lip back up into the magazine, and allow a cartridge to drop out to be pushed forward.
I did not know that's how that worked.
By the bolt. Nope.
Don't I dare? Don't I dare what? Buy another Calico? I will. Just you watch.
That I mentioned this earlier, but you can see the ejector sticking out there. That's going to punch the empty case off the bolt and out the bottom.
So the ejector there does more than just punch the empty case out of the top. Where's my snap caps? All right. We gotta load up some snap caps here. Only allowed to buy it direct from Calico. That's how I got this one. Is that supposed to be a threat of some kind? Like, oh no, you're only supposed to buy direct from Calico. That's how I got this one. Put a little spring tension on there, just so it will work. So, I don't know if this is going to eject when the gun's upside down. Probably not. I don't know how to show this. Probably easier zoomed in. So, you don't want me taking the one you want? It's okay. I can literally email them directly. All right, so the first one didn't even chamber. It left it in the magazine. So we're gonna stage this. We're gonna prep this. Just gonna drop that into the barrel. We're cheating. Okay. Now for the one you want. Oh, do you want like one of the retro ones, like wooden stock? I would like one of those too. Okay, so pulls out cartridge. Get out. Pushes it out. Ads, not the ads. It's good. I messed it up anyways, so we get a second chance. I didn't do what I wanted to do. There we go. Now it is how I want it set up. It's really hard to see though. I need like a little flashlight. Do I have a little flashlight? I need a flashlight so everyone can see into this hole. Back from ads. So that little ejector rod. You know what? We're using phone flashlight. So looking into the hole there. We are currently bolt locked open. So if you lock the bolt open, the next round is currently out of the magazine. You can see if you line that up, it is currently in front of where the magazine is. That little ejector rod is holding it prepped to be pushed the rest of the way into the barrel, but outside of the magazine for some reason. Which, as far as I can tell, is something that only is the case on the Liberty 3s. I don't know why, but that is a feature of some kind. Clean up snap caps.
Bottom. Now that you've seen the pistol, we can take a quick look at the carbine.
Calico also
This one has
destroys my
been
snap
all
caps.
Gucci'd out with all the optional add-on accessories, which is pretty cool. So you can see that this system down here is the same mechanical core. It disassembles exactly the same way. The barrel is longer, still has a compensator on it, again, an option. Has a vertical front grip added on as an option. It has a rail out here for mounting a laser as an added option. Frankly,
Or you could put a riser and a dot up there.
I actually really like, at least in concept, having not shot this one yet, I like this optics mount idea. To me, one of the, assuming the magazines work reliably, one of the big shortcomings of the Calico is this funky sighting system that uses the magazine as well as the gun. Being able to have a higher optic, this, by the way, is a horrible, horrible, cheesy airsoft or air gun optic, but being able to use the magazine as a cheek weld,
bar stock
have
optic.
a red dot style of optic up here. This is kind of the equivalent of an HK claw mount that is screwed into the frame of the gun. So it is no longer dependent on the magazine.
And these claw mounts, you can either put, you have two positions you can put them in. You can put them either here or back here over your magazine release. There's a cutout so you can still get to it. But you've got another screw hole back here. So you've got two there or two there to use. You don't have to put it in the front position. Although I don't know why you wouldn't.
To be a part of the sighting system, and that's a good thing. The carbines, there we go, put that in its actual locking position, were offered with a collapsing stock that you can extend out or compress. You
can also get these as factory SBRs, which is very cool. The factory SBR is also one of the only 9mm ones that still has its 900 designation for some reason. It's the M960. Unsure of why that is. Embraced pistol Calico when? As soon as you convince them to do it.
So, made a fixed stock version. This is just the stock, but they made this version as well if you preferred that.
That's what you want, get it.
The sling swivels are just very simple screw attachments that can be mounted on either side. There's the threaded hole for that there. And you could take this bolt.
SBR. I mean, they're relatively, it is one of the more expensive of the Calico, but for a factory SBR 9mm carbine, it's not bad. That is not bad at all. Digicam 22 toy SBR? No, don't get that one.
Out of the front and reverse it to put the front sling swivel on the other side. So maintaining the ambidextrous options on the gun. And the original factory configurations allowed you to really just mix and match any of these features. Fixed stock, folding stock, pistol only, barrel length, all those things. Take your pick.
And they had a designation
for each of them.
It does look like an actual toy.
Market, specifically the 9mm ones, they were clearly trying to get a military or police contracts for them. They offered these guns in full auto form, as machine pistols, as full auto rifles, as a submachine gun, with a stock and also a shorter barrel. And their marketing was largely targeted towards that. The problem was, well, historically, they have a relatively poor reputation now for reliability. And I think there's a lot of complexity in those magazines that the engineering is cool, the design is cool, it's very creative, it's well thought out, but it still requires someone to manually wind the magazines and make sure that they've got, if there's too much tension or too little.
I think these guns are cool. I think hey, he's got one with the the rear safety as well, instead of the forward one. Does the recoil of the Calico feel similar to the MP5? Yes? Question. I would assume so. It's the same basic operating system. Obviously, the weight distribution is going to be way different since you've got 50 to 100 rounds stacked on the back of it. But I feel like a lot of the reliability issues, well, not unfounded. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these are reliable. But I feel like the magazine is too complex. Like if you wind the magazine slightly wrong, you're going to lead to not accuracy. Poor reliability.
Tension, you'll run into problems. And I think it was just fundamentally a little too complicated to really appeal to a military market, which left them with the commercial market. And unfortunately, they brought these onto the market just shortly before the 1994 Omnibus Crime Bill, aka the assault weapons ban, which prohibited, in the United States, manufacture of magazines that could hold more than 10 rounds. And if you're limited to 10 rounds, there's no reason to buy a Calico, and basically nobody did. And the company basically went into stasis for 10 years.
A 10-round helical magazine?
After the assault weapons ban, which expired at sunset in 2004. The company was actually sold in 2006, moved to Oregon, and it still appears to exist. They have a website. It's a terrible website. Like, it's an awful website. And they talk about, like, they reference some interesting new products, like the 22 versions in 17 HMR or 22 Magnum. They talk about a 45 ACP version, but
I think the 17 HMR
just
ones
having a link to a broken
are
webpage.
gone.
I don't know if manufacturing is still going on or if they still have a stock of original production guns. These were renamed.
I do have some insight on that one. I have more information than Gun Jesus on this one here. So, these are made partially out of parts, originally from California. So you can see on here, this one is marked Bakersfield, California. So they are still making these on the original receivers. So this one has the manufactured Bakersfield, California up there. Right below it, same piece of metal, Oregon. Also, if you take off this grip module thing here, on the inside of that, it also says made in Oregon. So a lot of the parts of this made in Oregon, original receivers are still the original California ones, which is interesting for sure. Kind of neat. They should develop a P90 style mag for the Calico. Could actually make it a reliable gun. Yeah, but like the selling point is the helical magazine.
The Liberty series, Liberty 1, 2, and 3, after the end of the assault weapons ban. So you'll find those out there, but...
No, wait, hold on. Say that again. I think that was wrong.
Manufacturing is still going on, or if they still have a stock of original production guns. These were renamed the Liberty series, Liberty 1, 2, and 3, after the end of the assault weapons ban.
No. Hold on. That's not right. They were renamed the Liberty in 1990. I don't know why they were renamed the Liberty in 1990. If I was to guess, this is conjecture again. If I was guess, it would be because they were in California And around that time, California banned a bunch of guns by model name. And so I think they changed the model name to get around a poorly written law. But they were renamed the Liberty in 1990.
So you'll find those out there, but it seems to me that the new Calico company just doesn't have the capital to really do anything other than work with the existing stock that it appears to have been left over from manufacture before 1994. So the reputation that these have online is rather poor, with most people experiencing a substantial number of malfunctions with any given magazine. So I'm very curious. As of this filming, I have not actually had a chance to shoot these. So we're going to take them out to the range and see how this system actually works, if I can get it to run reliably. I'm wondering how much of those reliability issues are people not paying close attention to magazine maintenance and proper winding and loading of the magazines, and how much is in fact just, well, they didn't quite fine-tune it enough to get it working right. So we'll find out. We're going to go ahead and do that tomorrow. So stick around. Thanks for watching.
Oh, wait. Here we go. Reliability testing. Calico deep dive today.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm out here today at my pistol caliber carbine course of fire today, trying out a Calico carbine. These, we took a look at how these work on the desk. They're pretty cool. They have the same roller delayed blowback system as the MP5, but they are built around 100-round helical magazines, and they have a reputation for not working very well. So we're going to find out both if it can work and how well I can actually shoot it. So let's see, a couple things. First off, in the desktop video, you noticed that there was a muzzle brake on this. Well, I came out here before we started filming this to do just a little bit of zeroing the optic, making sure the gun was going to run, which so far it does. So far it's run about 40 rounds flawlessly. However, the muzzle brake, which is just pinned on, fell off the gun. So I'm just leaving it off. I figure if
it wasn't threaded, it was pinned? Pinned and not threaded?
This runs well enough, maybe I'll just thread the muzzle. That'd be kind of cool. Put a suppressor on it. Second thing to point out, we have an optics mount here with a modern red dot now. When you saw this on the table, it had a Tech Force 96, really craptacular airgun scope. Now it's got a relatively
that is a wonderful
craptacular,
word. Craptacular.
It's got a low-end Chinese-made red dot, which should be just fine for this test. So that's the setup. I've got a red dot on it instead of using the iron sights. Now, I am wondering how much of the gun's reputation comes from people not properly using the magazines. So I've loaded 100 rounds in here. I'm always going to load this thing full to capacity and then hit the little button, which removes all the spring pressure. And then you are supposed to put, there we go, 23 cranks of the winder. And I wonder how many of the problems that these guns have come
25
from
cranks
who don't
to get
do
it going.
that, or don't count it, or try to like load half and crank half, and I suspect that's where a lot of the issues come from. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And we're good. Now, this thing is definitely not known for rapid magazine changes. There we go. That's locked in.
I mean, you've got 100 rounds.
Typically, when I do this test,
you have to change
I will use
magazines,
two but I've got 100 rounds. Like, that's the whole point of the Calico. So there will be no reloading. If I can't make it in 100 rounds, then I'm just out. Now, if you haven't seen the range, we have 3 basic targets here, all purchased from MOA targets. We have a dueling tree, and I need to flip that all to the other side. That's to test target transitions. I then have a mini MOA target back there, which I have to hit the head and then reset it by hitting the chest section. That is to test precision shooting. And then I have a Redneck Texas Star over there, which is to test moving targets.
To
ensure that the targets are actually moving every time I hit a plate,
What's
I
the
have
difference
to
between a
alternate
Texas Star and a redneck
this
Texas
big-
Star?
The full-size silhouette. Once I clear the star, I do the mini MOA target again, and then I do the plate rack again. So, if the gun works, we should be able to do it.
Shooter ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Hey, all
It's
right.
working pretty well. Good thing he's got 100 rounds.
Go. Whew. That went pretty well. What was my time?
55:26.
Oh, that's a spicy result. That's 11 seconds faster than the HK SP5. Ooh, I wonder if I'm getting better at this. Part of this is I didn't have to reload the thing because I've still got.
Even a fast
It's a little hard to
reload
read
is
these.
slower
I've got
than
at
not
least
having
50
to
rounds
reload.
still in there. This always requires more than 30. The trigger is relatively heavy, but not actually awful. I have, in the past on this course of fire, had some issues with having to hit spinner plates more than once to get them to fall off. I've left the spinner graduated,
Probably not with a
the exact same
16-inch barrel.
tension on the springs on those. And I wonder if I'm getting a little bit more energy because this thing has a full 16-inch barrel instead of the 10-inch barrel on most of the other guns we've run on this course of fire. Because all 5 of those plates came off with a single hit. Oh boy, faster than the MP5. That. All right, we may have to do some.
I love that laugh. Oh my goodness. It's such like
Plates came off with a single hit.
oh
There's
boy, so much
faster than the
happiness in that
MP5.
laugh. That's such a giddy laugh.
All right, we may have to do some more shooting. I'll tell you what, I am going to go ahead and just finish off the entire magazine in this thing, and we'll see if it can run an entire 100 rounds without choking. That center plate on that Minimo is a little tricky to hit. There we go.
Yeah, it looks like if you have the rifle version, having this optics mount is basically required. There's no way you're going to get your eye close enough to this magazine to look down those pistol sights on that. There is no chance. Got to stick your eyeball on the magazine.
My trigger finger's getting tired. It feels a lot lighter. I think I'm almost out of ammo now. Oh, okay. It went click, which either means a malfunction or this is not exactly a quick change magazine deal. Out of ammo. There was some oil in there, which we can see because it's kind of spewed all over the top of the magazine.
Just have to run 50s. Running 50s.
That is a
That's running low capacity
100-round
magazines.
magazine without a single malfunction. I've got a 50 loaded up. Should we try that one too? All right, we'll try that one too. All right, now the 50 round mags require 10 cranks. So
10.
push the button, release all the spring tension.
15 or something.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Push that guy back in. One of the things that I really like about the 100 round magazine in the carbine is that I can actually use the back of the magazine as a cheek weld, which puts you a little bit low down on the red dot, but I think it works a lot better than using these square steel rails as a cheek weld. But with the 50 round mag, I have no choice. So
I'll use the rails as a cheek weld for the pistol sights. He never did get his Calico running reliably.
Mini-Mo is a really good evil target.
I mean, it hasn't malfunctioned yet. Yet. I mean, he's 130 rounds in at this point. No malfunctions.
All right. Trigger finger's getting tired again. Out of ammo.
150 rounds.
It's clear. That's 150 rounds without a single malfunction. So that's all the ammo I have loaded up for this thing today. I tell you what we're going to do. As I continue to go back to the range for other various shooting things, I am going to, like every time, take a 50 or 100 round mag. And I'm going to run it through this gun. I am not going to clean it, but I will always wind the magazines properly, and we'll see how long this Calico can go before it actually malfunctions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the full saga of the Calico that may or may not ever die.
All right, part two. Part two. And that was the last time it ran flawlessly. We're about to find out.
All right, guys. I am out. We have just finished a 2-gun match here, and since I'm out at the range, I figured I'd bring the Calico and another 100-round drum of ammo, and let's see if we can go another 100 rounds through this thing. So this is loaded. I'm going to release all the spring tension, and then we want 23 cycles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And now,
speed reload.
Want that stock just a little bit farther out. There we go. Turn on our red dot. And here we go, another 100 rounds.
Matilda, you were so hyped when the first video dropped and the Siligun defied its reputation. So far still doing pretty well. It was so sad to see it fail. I have faith. I have faith.
My trigger finger's getting tired. I'm not aiming so much.
Still going strong.
I can't read how much ammo is still in there, but it's still running.
It kind of reminds you of Star Wars. I mean, it was used in the Spaceballs, the 22 one. The 22 version was used in Spaceballs.
Backup hand. All right, so it went forward and clicked, which means either it's out of ammo or it has malfunctioned. Out of ammo.
250 rounds. At least 249.
Chamber is empty. So
250 rounds, no malfunction.
250 rounds through the Calico.
And no maintenance.
All through the same drum with no cleaning. Next time I come out to the range to do something, I'll bring another drum and we'll put another 100 through it. We'll keep doing it until this thing has a malfunction.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
Part 3.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and we're going to do another 100-round drum through my Calico carbine. At this point, I have put 250 rounds through it without any cleaning or any malfunctions whatsoever, all with the same 100-round drum. So
honestly,
I'm going to
250 rounds
spin this up
with no malfunctions,
and we'll do another 100 and see if it keeps going. So this requires
better than a lot of guns I've shot.
So I'm first going to release all the tension, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 cranks.
Did I already watch a video of Smith & Wesson's new revolvers?
A large part of the Calico's reputation for unreliability comes from people not properly loading and tensioning.
I have not seen any of the new Smith & Wesson stuff, other than their lever action. I saw their new Uber tactical lever action.
100 rounds, here we go.
To remove the locks from all the revolvers. I mean, having the lock on there doesn't hurt anything. Like, I'm never gonna use it, but like, if somebody wants to use it.
So that full-size Mozambique is not really calibrated for pistol cartridges.
I'm not opposed to it.
And I actually have to hit the center target at the bottom to give it enough energy to reset the head. Uh-oh. I just had a click.
That wasn't 100 rounds.
That was supposed to be a bang. There's no way I'm out of ammo yet. All right. Let's see. Trying to think the best thing to do here so as not to ruin the experiment. All right. There is still ammo in the gun, in the mag.
I think that was 200 rounds before any malfunction.
There is nothing in the chamber.
You just dropped one.
So
one just fell out. I saw it.
Chamber. Mag. There is nothing in the chamber.
Light strike.
So all right, mag's back in place.
Yeah, something definitely fell out.
Now it's chambered again. Let's see if it...
If it was a light strike, it could be ammo issues. Doesn't have to be gun.
Does that to me again here.
Also could be both. 20. 30. 31. 36.
That trigger finger worked. Oh, all right, another click. This time I might actually be out of ammo.
So 37 rounds, including the one that fell out. So that's 250 plus 100 minus 37. $223.
Nope.
Oh no, it was not.
Still got ammo.
2 malfunctions.
This time I have 1 round.
I was assuming that was
came
all
out of the magazine, but didn't
Double
actually
feed?
chamber. Bloop. And it looks like that was an empty case in.
Failed to extract.
The chamber.
Extraction failure.
I think we hit it. I haven't actually counted, but we went something like 300 rounds
Piece of junk
with
gun.
a Calico without malfunction.
I mean, I do think it was probably a little over 300. It was at least close. It was around 300. No malfunctions. And it is a gun that says it needs a lot of upkeep and maintenance. So, I mean, if you go clean it, it may work again.
Functions.
Piece of junk
without
gun.
cleaning. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually clean this thing, which is, by the way, pretty darn filthy now. Kind of one of the side effects of being a delayed blowback system. First, I'm going to empty this magazine. Then we'll go home, we'll clean it, and we'll come back and see if cleaning it brings it back to a state of good reliability.
You're just being overly critical on purpose. I mean, clearly it's not the most reliable thing. If you take a cheap... I don't think he pulled... Oh, no, he did. One fell out there.
Uh-oh. All right. Something more serious is going on
broke.
here.
Something definitely broke.
It makes it sound like it's working, but it's not actually working. It feels like there's good tension.
It's not a very well sealed system in there. So it could be that it's pretty easy for grime to get back around and start jamming things up in there if you're not like obsessively cleaning it.
I wonder if it's possible I have a broken part. All right, it is definitely chambered.
Wasting ammo. Gunless people around the world would love to have that ammo. I would love to have that ammo.
All right, now we're out of ammo. Yep. All right, we'll go home, we'll clean it. We'll come back for another try later on. Thanks for watching.
Couple malfunctions. But nothing like super terrible.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today is round 4 of Calico Reliability. If you have not been previously watching, round 1 was great, round 2 was great, round 3 the gun started malfunctioning. So, a couple things I want to point out really quickly. First off, I bought this with my own money, with no connection to Calico whatsoever. However, Calico found out about the videos, and like 2 days after the last one posted, where it started malfunctioning, I got an email from Calico that said some handy things like, hey, one of our engineers was watching your video closely, and he thinks it didn't sound quite strong enough when it was dry-fired, and he thinks you may have a weak striker spring. So they went ahead and sent me a new striker spring, and lo and behold, when I compared it to the one that was in the gun when I
So the people at Calico, I I have talked with a few people at Calico actually. As I was getting this, we're still very zoomed in. As I was getting this, and everyone I talked to at Calico was super nice, like super nice, and super like passionate about their strange gun, which I love. I love that. It's good customer service. It is. It is.
And I got it. Yeah, the new one's like 3/8 of an inch longer. So the old striker spring definitely had taken a little bit of a set, which could contribute to the problems that I had in the last video. Namely, the gun was failing to fire. So it would chamber around. It wasn't a feed malfunction. It was a failure to fire.
There was one failure to extract.
Both times when I was doing it last time. Anyway, so I have cleaned the gun now, and it was in fact filthy inside.
All right, so I pulled the Calico apart, and it is in fact.
That's what mine looked like when I got it.
Filthy inside. There's the bolt assembly.
But to test these things, they run a full magazine through them, because gotta function test them. They run a full mag through this thing, and I guess they don't clean it before they send it to you.
And then the receiver itself is pretty well caked up with carbon there. So we'll go ahead and we'll clean that up and see if that improves it.
Yeah, just really nasty in there. So we cleaned that out.
Mine wasn't that bad. Looking at the inside of that thing, mine did also only have a 50 round magazine. That's how any of your roller delays looks after one mag. You better have 100 round magazines.
New striker spring in it. One of the other interesting things that Calico told me, because
comes with the crud to prove it's been tested.
Their engineers on the phone, is that the 23 cranks on the 100 round magazine, that is a maximum, and it actually tends to work a little better with a little bit fewer, like 18 to 20 cranks. Probably don't want to go lower than 18, but what they told me was magazines getting dirty isn't really an issue, which
he was over cranking
it. Nothing's actually putting
although it was
the magazine,
but it was feeding pretty well.
Don't go over 23, and you don't even necessarily need to go to
ads. We got ads. But if the 23 cranks is working perfectly, I mean, nothing against like trying cranking it a little less. But if you're cranking it and it's working, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's okay. Then maybe you're cranking it right. You don't need to crank it any less. Just saying. If it's working, don't fix what ain't broke. But I guess round 4 already discovered the maximum was like 300 rounds before you start having issues. So now's when you start testing other things. I suppose.
223, every crank above about 20 is adding a substantial amount of friction to the whole mechanism. So I never had feeding problems with this, but we're going to go ahead and do 20. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So he was cranking it too much, so he's going to crank it a little less this time.
13, 14, 15, 16.
And we're going to see how it works.
18, 19, 20. I will not be like the one guy that
increased magazine tension can increase drag on the bolt as well. Generally, yes. I don't know if that's the case with these necessarily, since it has this spring-loaded feed lip that holds the ammo in until the feed lip is depressed.
Cranks on it every time he loaded a round into the magazine.
No
that
fluted
is definitely
chamber.
Not the appropriate way to load this. And
it definitely has a fluted chamber
with 2,300 cranks. So, also,
or does it? I was thinking it did, but now you've got me thinking. I thought it did. Maybe I don't know.
This ammo's getting expensive. Like, fortunately, I bought this ammo prior to the pandemic shortages. But, yeah, these 100-round mags are pricey now. Anyway, let's see if we can go through another 100 rounds now that we've got a new striker spring and a clean gun.
And he did crank it less this time. So if he has feeding issues because he didn't crank it enough.
That's not good. I got to like 12. So there is a cartridge, a live cartridge in the chamber, but it failed to cycle.
You have to pull the bolt back pretty hard to get it to reset.
No, this is not good. Another live one. Got a little tiny dimple. In fact, we've got little tiny dimples on both of
That's not good.
those primers.
It is also... I couldn't figure out how to take the firing pin out of mine. So there could be some crud stuck in the firing pin channel, causing light strikes.
All right, something is clearly not going well here, because that is now 4 failures to fire in the first 20 rounds.
Oh, it's all going downhill from here.
That is clear.
It did so well. It did so well.
All right, so we're getting a lot of light strikes, and I'm not sure why.
I do think it may be that there could be some crud in the firing pin channel. It's a solid possibility.
All right, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I will tell you my plan is, or was, to enter the Arizona State PCC Championships with this gun at the end of this month. And so I'm going to need to make sure I can actually get it running. I was kind of expecting that the cleaning and the new striker spring would clear all the issues right up, but we'll have to see what happens.
Chinese calico? I don't see any follow-ups in the recommended videos. So I guess that was it. I guess that was it for the calico testing. Chinese calico.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today courtesy of the French Gendarmerie, taking a look at a really cool modern Chinese bullpup SMG. This is a CS/LS6, and it's a design that was inspired in part by the Russian Bizon, the PP-19, and also in part by the American Calico, although it's definitely distinct from either of those designs. So it was developed by a Chinese weapons designer whose name I'm not even going to try because I will totally butcher it. So there's his name right there. He's the same guy who developed a number of other interesting Chinese firearms, including the QBZ-92 pistol, the Type 64 submachine gun, the
bullpup
Type 67 silenced pistol, the Type 8.
I don't know if this is actually a bullpup. The chamber is right here. You can see the bolt where the magazine is. The chamber is right here, just in front of the trigger. I don't think that's a bullpup. If this is a bullpup, then literally every single pistol is a bullpup.
.80 submachine gun. So a guy with a lot of experience.
Not a bullpup.
And in 1993 and 94, he actually developed this in secret on his own before getting it far enough along.
Nothing like developing guns in secret in China.
In the process that he decided to show it to a factory manager in 1996. At that point, it was formally approved for further development, and in its original form, it actually used the helical magazine as a buttstock to the gun, and it was in the Chinese 5.8mm pistol cartridge. This was fairly quickly replaced by a version where the magazine was on the top.
Uses the magazine as a buttstock.
As in this iteration, and then it was decided that actually the gun ought to be made more for the export market than the domestic Chinese market. So it was redeveloped in 9x19. There were a couple more prototype iterations. One of them used an underfolding stock. The most interesting one actually had 2 magazines in it, helical magazine on top, and also a box magazine in the pistol grip. It's unclear to me how exactly you were supposed to choose between the two. But you can actually see remnants of that in this design, the final production version.
If someone made a clone of the PP, I would...
So, by 2004, the gun was actually 100%. Ready for testing. And in initial testing, as is fairly typical, it had problems with all sorts of things. The ejector, the fire control group, the trigger specifically, the magazines, a lot of problems. Again, as one would expect, they spend another year trying to resolve those problems, and in 2005, the gun is formally presented to the public at a military expo in China. It's at that point designated the CS-05.
Can I open carry my Calico pistol?
Serial production is approved to begin, and in 2006, the export version comes out as the CS/LS-06, and that is what we have here. I would imagine it'd be on
Calico's website.
Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it and pull it apart. There you have it with the stock collapsed. You've got 2 solid integrated pistol grips, handles pretty nicely there. This muzzle brake is built into the gun, and it comes threaded for a suppressor mount. Apparently this is typically sold as a package with a suppressor, but I don't have the suppressor here to show you. We have a selector switch on the left, nice solid good detents in there. Top is marked B, that is safe. D is semi, and L is full. Rate of fire on this is something like 800 rounds per minute. The front sight is, I would say, very typical of perhaps an SKS or a Chinese AK. Completely round shield with a nice little round front post in it. And then the rear sight is a fairly small little aperture.
Oh my goodness.
The markings are a bit hard to read here, but that rear sight can be set to 100 meters as it is now, or 150.
This seems like a very clicky gun.
Back here, the 5 marking is 50 meters, and that just flips a cam that sets that rear aperture to a different height. The rear sling swivel here doubles as the stock release button. You push this in, and there we go. The stock will come out. That is fully extended. Note that there are slots in the collapsing stock here, which do line up with the ejection port, so that this can be used with, right there, with the stock fully collapsed.
Is a pretty cool design.
This is modern enough that there's a section of Picatinny rail back here that you could mount an optic to, if you want that.
Very good.
And then we have a magazine release button right here. Push that in, and the drum lifts off the top. This holds 50 rounds. It actually feeds from back here, but you can load it from the front, unlike the Calico magazine, for example. And then it does have a winder. You load it up and then give it 7 complete rotations to properly tension the magazine.
7? So you've got the Calico's over there taking 23.
Helical track of cartridges in there. This fires from a closed bolt.
50 round only takes 10.
So it doesn't lock open, and it doesn't lock open on an empty magazine either. That functionality isn't built into the helical magazine. It's hammer fired, which you'll see in just a moment. And well, here we go. Let's just disassemble it now. First thing you do is push in this button on the front, and then you can pull out the front pin. That's locking the action into the polymer stock. Then the second step is a little bit trickier. You have to take out the safety selector, and to do that, what you do is first check it. All right. You then pull the trigger back in full auto, and while holding the trigger back, you can drop the safety lever down about half a position. Once it's there, the safety lever can be lifted directly out. Note that the slot there is horizontal. That's important to remember when you reassemble the gun. Now you can just take this, lift it, lift the metal.
Where
out
are these?
Of the polymer
where are
body.
these? He said at the beginning
Next
these were
up,
designed
we want
for
to remove
export
the
market.
recoil spring. This is a really pretty tight recoil spring.
I want one.
There we go. But it is captive. So you lift the front of the recoil spring out of that pin, and then you can pull it out. Very much AK-like there.
Isn't that the back of the recoil
And
spring?
it kind of wobbled out, but I put it back in to show you. This is the spring housing, and once you take this off, you slide it back and lift it up, then the bolt can come off. Let's see, we've got our hammer back here, so I need to recock that. All right, with the hammer.
You have to decock the hammer to start taking it apart, and then recock the hammer when it's already most of the way apart to take the last
Cocked
piece
and
out.
the spring retainer removed, the bolt now lifts up and comes out. So this is a telescoping style of bolt, meaning that
Canada,
the bolt
currently
face
getting
is back
crushed.
here, and you've got all
Do they
this
have these in
mass
Canada?
sitting up
I'm gonna
in
be
front
upset.
of the bolt face. This
I'm
is
gonna
a
be upset
pretty
if
darn
Canada has these.
heavy bolt, which makes sense for it being a simple blowback gun with a relatively short receiver. This doesn't move back all that far, which means you want a lot of mass in order to ensure that it's going to function safely. Here's your firing pin. I suspect this is supposed to have a spring in it. This one doesn't, but this one has had a bit of a hard life, so I'm not surprised if the spring is missing from it. There's nothing else here that's going to come apart in a basic field strip. You got your muzzle device permanently
What is
attached.
going on up here? It's, it's like from a manufacturing standpoint. You've got a shelf reamed out. Barrel gets thinner right there. This front block is pressed on, but not all the way to the back of the to where the shoulder is. And this thing mushed on the front somehow.
To the barrel. It's the front mounting point for the drum along with the front sight. You've got two pins here that hold sort of the rear receiver, I guess, the rear section onto the front with the barrel. So you could drive those pins out and separate that, but we're not going to at the moment. We have the ejector here. You can see that there's still clearance sort of.
Oh my, there's rust in there. Whoever owns this needs to clean it. Goodness.
On the underside.
Clean your guns.
And you still have this hollow cutout in the stock here for the early prototype that actually used a box pistol magazine in the grip, in addition to that helical magazine. And then we've got a rear sight tower out here, and your fire control group. So the trigger's there. We've got a transfer bar right there. Pull that forward. It's going to drop a sear right there, which releases the hammer. There's not much to see inside the polymer shell. We have the lug back here that controls the stock extension and locking, and in this one that's kind of in bad shape. I think if this was actually fired, the stock would probably collapse on the shooter, which would be a bit unpleasant. So nothing else out here. There's no metal reinforcement in this aside from the collapsing stock itself right there. It doesn't feel all that reassuring. This isn't if this came out in the US market, I think people would be a bit dubious of this polymer, but it seems to have held up fairly well. And there you are, one field stripped CS-LS-6 Chinese submachine gun. I have to say, the gun feels pretty good to me. Granted, I haven't actually fired it, but the grips are good, the sights are pretty decent, the length of pull is good, the sharp metal edge on the stock isn't so great, but in 9mm that ought to be tolerable. It's a very handy SMG, especially with the stock collapsed. It's also pretty light. It comes in at 2.2 kilos. That's about 4.8 pounds. Bump that up to 2.9 kilos with a loaded magazine. 50 rounds weighs a fair amount. That's like 6.4 pounds. still a fairly, a fairly light, fairly handy little SMG. They did make some commercial sales, so it was used by Chinese police and paramilitary organizations, as well as being sold to at least a couple of countries. I know Venezuela and Myanmar and Uganda bought them. Not countries known for their major military power, but the gun did actually see some commercial sales and successful export. So I thought this would be a pretty darn cool one to take a look at. A big thanks to the French Gendarmerie for giving the opportunity to show it to you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.
The French Gendarmerie needs to clean their guns. Oh my goodness. Just letting that thing rust. All right, next Calico video.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today we are...
I have already watched this one, but cool thingy going on there.
Of the cheek pistol. This is a concept that my friend Rhett Neumeier over at Demonstrated Concepts introduced me to, and it's the idea of using, literally having a pistol, not a brace, not a stock, anything like that, just an actual pistol where you have 3 points of contact because you use both hands and literally your cheek.
Wait. Hang on. The ATF definition of a pistol, right, is something that's made and designed to be fired with one hand, which is a bad definition. We're not going to argue that. But if you specifically design a cheek pistol, it's no longer made and designed to be shot unsupported with one hand. Would that make it an AOW? Cheek pistoling the TP9 is beyond cringe. I mean, as long as you're right-handed and you cover up the Picatinny rail so it doesn't cheese grater your face. There's probably worse things out there.
Now, he is doing this with like a Kel-Tec 22, which works left-handed, but not hugely. One of the big problems with coming up with pistols that can be adapted
deserves
to this...
better. Maybe, but as a proof of concept, using a nice gun for your proof of concept, it's not bad. Honestly, ATF is amazingly lax, considering the text of the law. Yeah. I hate to admit it, but yeah, kind of. It's because the laws are terrible. They need to be, at best, rewritten. Or no, at worst, rewritten. At best, gotten rid of entirely.
Well, there are two issues. First off is you have to have a red dot, because if you've got a pistol up here, you're not going to be able to use the normal iron sights. Secondly, you need a pistol that doesn't have a traditional Browning style slide, because if you have a pistol right here and the slide goes flying back and forth, it's just going to shred your face. So the Kel-Tec is a decent option, and you can put a really high red dot mount on it, but I was looking at what else I have, especially things that will work for this concept for a left-hander, and the Calico Liberty 900 pistol, or Liberty 950, M950 pistol, is downward ejecting. This is roller delayed, just like an HK, downward ejecting. And
even putting a gas pedal on a race pistol can be argued not a handgun. That's true. Not made and designed to be shot from one-handed, because you've got a nub for a second hand. Bring back the Bushmaster arm pistol. That's true. Bushmaster arm pistol is more of a pistol according to the letter of the law. than a tricked out like CZ75.
And the magazine sits right up here on the back and actually acts as a really ideal cheek rest. The problem is there was no red dot mount for something like this. And so I went to some of my other friends at
textured the front of the trigger guard, felony.
And they fabricated this pretty nifty little
That's true.
red dot mount for me.
You're right. You're right. Oh, safety. The front of the trigger guard there, textured. You know where my finger's not? It is empty. When I'm firing the gun, one-handed, not doing anything up there. But if I use whatever that tactical grip is, or people use the texture up there, horribly uncomfortable for me. Not made and designed for one-handed fire. Good job. Good job, GCA.
The front arm here of the Calico, it holds the original front sight. It's solid metal, it's connected to the barrel, it's connected to the frame. It's nice and stable, and what they did was put on a mount here that will hold a red dot at the proper height for me to see with my cheek rested on the magazine, and I can grip the gun like this. So one hand on the pistol grip, one hand wrapped around the optic for me to see with my cheek rested on the fabricated this pretty nifty
Diamondback Tactical.
I went to some of my other friends at Diamondback Tactical.
I wonder if they would make one for me.
Resting on the cheek. Now the idea is that this gives you better accuracy and faster repeated shots than a traditional pistol. There we go. So there's the concept. And I have a really nice picture through.
I know. I think Diamondback Tactical and Diamondback, the cheap AR guys, are different companies. I think. We can check. So it's Diamondback Firearms, Diamondback Shooting Sports, I'm not actually seeing anything called Diamondback Tactical. Okay, so it's Diamondback Shooting Sports. That's the one in Tucson, Arizona. That's what Mr. Gun Jesus said. Honestly, it looks like just a gun shop. They probably have a gunsmith who made that for him.
Through the red dot here. This is an old red dot I've had for a long time. Just it's an old Burris Fastfire. You could put anything you wanted up here. You could be totally swanky and put like an Acro P2 from Aimpoint up there. This is something I had. It was available. It was free because I already had it. So the question is, will this actually work to give me faster sight acquisition and faster shooting than a traditional pistol? Let's give it a try. Center. All right, now the big question is, how about the spinner? Because
I mean, as long as you don't mind it punching up into your face, it controls the vertical recoil pretty well.
I can run a spinner with a traditional pistol, and I can do it in a single magazine, 16, 17 rounds. But I'm pretty much limited to one shot on the top plate, one shot on the bottom plate because of the muzzle flip and the follow-up shots. There are people who can double tap them, Russell Fagan being a particularly good example, but I can't with a traditional pistol, and I'm curious if I can with this. Ready?
He's getting the big bottom one every time. I didn't count shots.
Not only was
so
I able to
I don't know if he beat
consistently double tap actually
standard magazine capacity.
Plates, definitely the bottom one. I was able to also get some doubles on the top plate. I was actually able to just drive it over at the very end, which is normally something you don't want to try doing with a pistol. This is quite a lot of horsepower in a pretty small package. Now, one of the things that is happening here is the chamber is basically right under here. That's, I believe, the barrel pin. And so this is getting hot. And when I'm holding it like this front strap is getting heat off the barrel. This is starting to warm up. Doesn't help that we're out in the desert.
I mean, if you just, I put a little piece of rubber, a little piece of plastic on top of that, on top of the receiver, that helped quite a bit.
Desert.
It wouldn't help with the bar heating up.
Degrees out here, but the gun definitely gets hot. Now I can probably just hold it by the handguard and get the same sort of effectiveness. Till I run out of ammo, which is a remarkable achievement with a Calico magazine. Oh,
he didn't run out of ammo.
I didn't run out of ammo. I just had a typical Calico issue where it malfunctioned.
This seems a little dramatic. Just pull the bolt back. You've got your 9mm wedged in there. Just pull back harder.
Pull that out. There we go. Put the parts back together. So I like the cheek pistol concept. There are some issues with the Calico execution. There we go. You know what? It's okay, so you have to totally field strip the pistol to fix it, but can fix it.
I feel like that could have been fixed by just pulling harder on the charging handle.
There we go. And we're back. And now I think I actually am out of ammo. Yeah, that was the last round. All right, so this has been my funky
that also could have been magazine
experiment,
tension.
Which
at the last couple rounds could have been not quite enough tension.
It's interesting that all of the cheek pistol designs are pretty much handicapped by the base platform guns. Like your choice is Calico here or Kel-Tec. Not what a good set of choices.
Well, now
I think this has real potential.
What about the guy using
to actually
the TP9?
Get a Calico M950 running reliably, and the magazine's running reliably. I think this has a lot of potential. If nothing else, is a really cool range toy, and boy, it'd be fun to take this to a PCC match. So we may very well do that, although not if I continue to have.
I don't know. This putting this thing on there might make that an SBR. Might make that an SBR. Because now it's not designed to be shot unsupported by one hand.
Malfunctions where I have to field strip the gun to repair. A few thoughts on handling. The kick from a pistol like this is a little more
also not a stock. Would be an AOW
than you might be used to. It's not bad, but it is something that surprised me at first. The 22 Magnum Kel-Tec cheek pistols don't have that issue because they're just 22 Magnum. But when you step it up to 9 Parabellum, that does become sort of a thing. Beyond that, this is really cool, and I look forward to tinkering with it more, see if I can figure out what's causing the issues and rectify them. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you have your own ideas for a cool cheek pistol, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what else people are tinkering with. And of course, if you haven't heard of this concept at all, please do check out Rhett Neumeier at Demonstrated Concepts. I'll have one of his videos
mentioned all the things I would
about development of the whole concept linked in the end cards of this one. Thanks for watching.
Uzi Pro. Uzi Pro cheek pistol. Did anyone have any good ideas in here? Nope. Nothing. But we do have we have more Calico media to consume. They have a whole page of it on their website.
It's already begun.
We get we get an 80s guns infomercial. Is the best.
It's already begun. Calico light weapon systems have begun a revolution in firepower. Calico light weapon systems has begun a revolution in firepower.
Dumps a mag. Goes back.
Based on Calico's internationally patented helical feed magazine, Calico offers an
Calico 9mm DMR. Anyone? Any Calico DMR havers?
entire family of firearms that give professionals exclusive advantages in capacity, weight, and performance over conventional carbine and pistol designs. From the high-capacity 9mm semi-automatic rifles and pistols to the high-performance select fire platforms, every Calico can deliver up to 100 good reasons why Calico has no equal in firearms technology. Accuracy and performance are the natural results of Calico's superior design. The center of gravity of every Calico weapon is positioned over the shooter's wrist, providing great balance and precision.
I mean, it's not false.
The grip is located directly behind the barrel center line, greatly reducing recoil effects and enhancing hit probability shot after shot. Many high-capacity firearms suffer from long, protruding magazines, but
I think this suffers from something more significant than the long protruding magazine. Maybe the long protruding barrel. You're not gonna compare it to something. Okay.
Calico's unique magazine offers no impediment to operations. For delivering overwhelming firepower on target,
it's happy to see me.
Nothing matches the 9mm firearms designed and manufactured by Calico.
I think.
These top-loading, bottom-ejecting weapons are ideal for close-quarter operation, since ejected brass travels straight down. If desired, right into our optional brass catcher.
No impediment. What about jams? You just gotta.
Calicos are truly ambidextrous, with safety selectors on either side,
every time you reload
designed so that the trigger finger can sense when the safety is on. The safety can be switched to fire or full auto in an instant. The static cocking lever provides an extra margin of safety while shooting.
Non-reciprocating charging handle.
A two-position bolt catch holds the bolt at half open for chamber inspection or fully open for a more complete inspection. These design innovations are found on all our 9mm firearms. The semi-automatic M951 tactical carbine, featuring a Kelly grip and muzzle compensator. Also available with a lightweight solid stock as the M951S. And our power-packed M950 pistol.
Kelly grip.
In select fire, the awesome power of the Calico weapon system becomes apparent. Calico offers a diversity of firearms for every operational requirement.
There's the transparent magazine.
The M955A submachine gun, also available with a lightweight solid stock as the M955AS. Our M960A mini submachine gun with sliding stock, or as the M960AS with a solid stock. And our M950A machine pistol for the maximum in concealable firepower. No firearm field strips as easily. Remove one spring-locked retaining pin and the entire...
Man, that guy pulled it out with his fingers. I guess so did Ian. Mine, you got a hammer and punch out. Mine's very
simply
stiff.
Falls away as a single piece in seconds. Calico's unique magazine can be stored in...
They definitely disassembled a freshly cleaned gun. That is not what those look like after you shoot any rounds at all.
Calico's unique magazine can be stored indefinitely, fully loaded, and can be charged in seconds for use. A two-phase clutch allows spring tension to be released for restorage. With the clear apertures on the top of the magazine, it's easy to make a quick estimate of the remaining ammo.
I mean, yes, but also maybe maybe make that point when not showing the clear magazine. Yes, instead of looking through the side of your clear magazine, look through these little holes on the top.
Top of the magazine, it's easy to make a quick estimate of the remaining ammo. Our patented speed loader makes loading a snap. Just close it up and crank them in.
That was some black magic right there.
A number of high-tech sighting systems integrate with Calico weapons, from laser designators and aim points to more traditional optical systems. Calico's adjustable front post and flip rear sights offer immediate target acquisition, plus a choice of ghost ring or combat modes.
Combat mode.
A variety of missions can be served
Ghost
by
ring and
Calico light
combat
weapon
mode.
systems, and a wide selection of accessories are available to configure the
I
exact
do
system
prefer
you
the
need.
combat mode sights on my pistols.
Each Calico weapon is built in the USA to demanding specifications. No conventional carbine or pistol can match the performance and firepower of the Calico family of helical feed firearms. The revolution in firepower has begun.
Bill Nelson Media Group. Bakersfield, California. 951A Valhalla, Bakersfield, California. See. History Channel. History Channel.
Have you
12 years ago.
ever wondered how many people it takes to make the items we use in our everyday lives?
I don't really think about it. I just usually assume that it's a lot of questionable Asian labor, probably by children.
Now, I'm heading to Forest Grove, Oregon to find out just how many people it takes to make a 9mm gun.
Looking for
This is That's not where they are now. They're in Cornelius, Oregon. They've had multiple Oregon places, multiple Oregon locations. Didn't know that.
Calico Gun Factory. Now, this place looks.
This was 12 years ago, so 20.
But at the Calico Gun Factory, you can
2013-ish?
forget the 6-shooter. They build a 100-shooter. This is not where I would expect a gun factory to be. But indeed, this is where the pistol is made. Let's go check it out. Hey, whoa, hey, I come in peace. You Chris? Yep. Hi.
How you doing? Chris.
Good, good. So this is Calico Firearms?
I've talked with this guy. I have talked with this guy on the phone. Super cool guy. Oregon is so good they had to move there twice.
Yep, sure is.
Who's our friend here?
This is the shop dog, Jacko.
Nice. Now this 9mm pistol is this is serious business. This is a 100-bullet magazine, right?
Correct.
Oh no, listening to not gun people talk about guns. It's a 100-bullet magazine.
No other company does that.
Right, yeah. A pistol generally is not, doesn't have that many bullets in it.
10, 15,
So you deal with SWAT teams and police,
13,
military. and whatnot.
please. Yep.
So we wanted to check out the 9mm
It's on
pistol
Discovery.
and
You
find
can't
out how
say
many
you're selling
people it
these
takes
to
put it together.
Right.
civilians.
So who's number one?
Serious business.
Well, that would be my wife, and she's back there.
Great.
She's number one.
Now, I'd like to include Jack the dog, but this is how many people, so I can't. My hands are tied.
hold on. What was her name? Heather, I think. I've talked to her too. I'm gonna feel bad if I got the name wrong. I'm pretty sure it starts with an H.
This is her. This is Heather.
Heather.
Hi. Hey, I'm Dave. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to meet you. So tell me about what you do here.
I pull the parts for the guys in the shop. This is the first piece, and this is the base of what the gun is built off of.
The gun receiver is one of a select few pieces that Heather orders from outside vendors. All of your guns.
I mean, maybe. But they're still marked Bakersfield, California, where they originally were. Enough to shoot everyone on Earth twice. 2000s TV was wild. Yeah, you gotta be able to scare people. Gotta make guns sound scary.
Start here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happens from here?
That's just TV being wild.
Steve, yes.
Vendors.
She tries to grab this thing out of his hands like 3 times.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay, and then what happens
Ready?
from here?
Ready?
We're gonna walk
She goes to grab it.
over to Steve.
Tries to grab it again.
Yes.
This gun receiver works as the spine for the Calico pistol. But before it can shoot even a single shot, it needs a handle, a trigger.
That does look kind of cool. If they clear anodized these. A nice two-tone.
And a one-of-a-kind 100-round magazine. So here we are at Steve, you're person number 2.
I am.
So you take this piece and what happens?
Well, how about if we just run one here, and you can see what we're doing. This is forming the hole that
Handle.
the
Yeah, you gotta have a
sight assembly
handle.
will be installed into.
I see. That's got to be very precise.
Exactly.
So this guy comes off of here, and then what happens?
From here, let's take it over to the lathe.
So what happens here?
We're going to bore out the rough casting.
Because it doesn't need a
Just
bolt.
basically
Yeah, it doesn't
drilling
need
a hole
that.
where the barrel's going to go.
It doesn't need
Fire
that.
up the coolant.
Okay.
Turn off our coolant and turn our machine off. Now what we're going to do is take this over to Chris. He needs to clean up all the rough edges and get them ready for painting.
Okay, person number 3 is our owner, Chris. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I understand you're not just our owner, but you're number 3.
I'm number 3.
Chris puts a lot of himself into his 9mm pistol.
I'm trying to make it as smooth as possible. Nobody needs
He is a
firearm
passionate guy.
snagging up on their uniform or something internally that's not working.
As number 3,
in my talking
he
with
does
him.
at least 3 different things.
At this
Super
point,
passionate guy.
It's technically a firearm.
Really?
And we need to put a serial number on it.
Even before a trigger or a sight or a barrel gets put on it, it's a firearm.
Correct.
It's trackable from this point forward.
From the ATF standpoint.
Gotcha.
And that would be alcohol, tobacco, and firearm.
Right, right. Let's stamp her.
Every time I pull this handle down, it changes the serial number.
There we are.
That is
431. So what happens now?
That is an old school way to do that.
That's over that way.
Chris then grabs a gun barrel and takes the receiver and the barrel to sandblasting, then puts them in a phosphate bath for protection against rust before painting.
This goes next to Steve.
Back to
And
Steve. Steve's got a lot of jobs here.
Yes, he does.
We're working him hard.
I know.
Hello, Steve. We're back.
Hello, Dave.
Hi. How are you? We have a barrel for you. What do you do with this thing now?
Well, what we're going to do is we assemble the barrel to the receiver in one step.
Oh, this guy has the early 2000s dad mustache. Look at that guy. It's archaic.
How do you do
archaic
So
is
I'm
all
gonna
heck.
put my receiver
It
onto
is.
the fixture here.
Probably the same machine they've been using since the 80s.
And with that, our barrel is in place. Yeah?
This is pretty close to becoming a firearm.
And yet we're still only 3 people in. So far, Heather has purchased and secured the base of our gun called the receiver. Next, Steve takes the receiver and makes sure the sight and barrel holes are exact. Then Chris cleans off the excess metal, prepping the gun and the barrel. The multi-talented Steve then takes both parts and puts them together. All right, boss, want to give it a little visual inspection?
Yep. Starting to look like a gun.
It really is.
Yep.
So where does it go from here?
You're headed over to Larry, and he's over there. And
Is there a new person?
yes, there is.
Finally, number 4.
Number 4.
Larry, I'm Dave.
Glad to know you, Dave.
Good to meet you. You're number 4.
Larry Welder.
What is your job?
Grab that hood up here. Watch me.
There we go.
Okay, you ready?
Hold on 1 sec.
Okay.
Don't rush me, Larry.
Okay.
There we go.
Larry's just
Fire
trying to do his
away.
job. He's got to deal with this TV man here. They skipped finishing the receiver? I don't think they did. I think they mentioned it very briefly. They mentioned giving it like a phosphate bath.
Back to
And
Steve. Steve's got a lot of jobs here.
Yes, he does.
We're working them hard.
I know.
Hello, Steve. We're back. Even before a trigger or a sight or from this point forward.
Where was it? It's after the serial number.
Old IOO2431 and grabs a gun barrel and takes the receiver and the barrel to sandblasting, then puts them in a phosphate bath for protection against
There you
rust
go.
before
Phosphate
painting.
bath.
This goes next to Steve.
It was done
Back to
very
Steve.
quickly.
Steve's got a...
Okay.
There we go. Fire away. Whoa. Okay. All right, so what have we done here?
What we're done is we back that to the firing mechanism.
Larry has just finished welding the male bolt assembly that works the firing pin and is the key component of the firing mechanism. That's because the pin is the thing that hits the back of the bullet and sends it down the barrel.
The pin doesn't hit the bullet, it hits the primer.
So without you, there's no gun.
Well,
Right, Ollie?
yeah, right.
Yeah. Own it.
I'm the
They're
main
using
part.
a literal
number
fry
4.
basket to
Who's number
phosphate
5? Is there another
Dan's
5?
number 5. He's over
As long as
there
it
at the
works.
assembly table.
Male bolt assembly.
Is there a Dan in the
Yeah,
house?
you
Looking
want-
for a Dan.
Not
Dan?
one of those female bolt assemblies.
Dave.
Don't want
Please
to
don't you. You know, you're
confuse
number 5.
people.
So what are you doing here?
Well, some small parts assembly here for the trigger.
So this is the real precise stuff, right?
Yeah, it can get a little tedious, but
This is
it's
the-
small.
This is like the ship in the bottle part of it, right?
Yeah. It all has to fit together and do its part.
The smallest handgun you can buy measures 2.5 by 1.5 by 1/2 inches. It'll
What? First of all, I don't think so. Second of all, this is
fit
why
inside
are we
a
talking
paper
about
box.
this?
Minimum cost is $6,500, or you can get it in 18 karat gold and spend up to $48,000. It
Why are we talking about this random revolver?
fires the smallest ammunition available, a 2mm bullet, but it does it at a deadly velocity of 275 miles an hour. So this is the trigger.
And we're back to the Calico. Why did you tell us about that little itty bitty revolver? Okay.
Assembly. Where does it go from here?
It's going in the
Thank
grip.
you, 2000s TV.
Where do these grips come from?
Well, we have a local company that does the plastic injection molding for us. Ships them over, and then we're set.
Pop it in
Move
there.
on, yeah.
Among the many parts in the trigger assembly are Larry's firing mechanism and pin, the grip, the actual trigger itself, and the bolt assembly, which is what rams the firing pin
Early
into the
2000s
back of the
Subway
bullet.
Surfers. Oh, why was it?
Rams the firing
Why is it
pin into
vibrating?
the back of the bullet.
It's the assembly. It's the extractor piece.
Does that conclude your job, number 5?
Pretty much.
All right, so who is number 6? Must be Todd, this guy who's been hanging out in your space also?
Yeah.
Oh, Todd. How you doing? I'm Dave. You are number 6. Up to this point, Larry's welded
All
the
these poor
firing
people, they're
mechanism.
just trying to do their
Dan's
job.
put together the trigger, and now Todd's gonna make it into a working gun.
VHS tracking mode.
I'm doing a couple of things here today. I'm going to put a magazine together and use that in final assembly.
Probably because
to
that
put
whole
the gun
revolver
together
is
for
the side
you.
of Calico's trigger
What
pack.
makes the Calico 9mm pistol unique is its 100
Then they
bullet
should
magazine.
Say
This allows law enforcement and our soldiers
they
to
should
keep on
say what
shooting,
they're
while the bad
what makes
guys
it
have to
relevant.
reload.
The function of this is to drive the bullets up the inside of the cartridge
Right.
here. It's a single helix.
Right.
So we want to make sure the bullets keep feeding
Can't have to
in
go
one
back.
direction.
You don't wanna
Check that I've got it in place.
And now we have a magazine.
We have a
That's the
magazine.
part I struggled with.
How does it all
today.
come together as a gun, though?
Well, we can slide down here and I can show you the few final steps to put the rest of it together.
Terrific. Okay, so now we got all the elements.
Okay. Here we've got the barrel that we put in the receiver earlier today.
Right.
I've got to pop the bolt in. I have the cocking spring. Okay, I've got the cocking rod. All right, then I'll put this handle on. Handle on.
Cocking
With all the
rod.
parts at the ready, Todd goes into warp speed to finish building the Calico 100-round pistol. Click in place.
And you've got a 100 round.
The 100 round
9mm
magazine looks
Calico
ridiculous on
All
the
right, so
pistol.
where does it go from here?
weapon. We put it in this box.
Yep.
Chris is going to take it out to test fire it. We don't send a gun to the customer till Chris has handled it, operated it, knows that it works.
Right. The gun is assembled, but we're not finished yet. Now Chris and I are going to take them out to a firing range and make sure they work perfectly. So this is it, huh?
It's the gun you helped make today.
Factory.
What is this fun fact? A 9mm weapon can penetrate 2 average-sized people standing back to back? What was it? Thank you, History Channel, for that one.
That's right.
Brand new gun.
Yep.
All right, now tell me why you test
Family-friendly
these guns. You've got plenty of
firepower.
stuff to do.
Sure. I put a lot of passion in making sure that this thing functions 100%. That it was safe and nothing would happen to some law enforcement guy. And I'd rather have it hurt me than hurt them. Yeah.
I like that. So what do we do?
And I'm gonna drop the bolt. We're gonna have a round in the chamber, and then we're gonna go live.
Okay. Like that.
You can also blow the lung right out of the body.
Man, that's a
I mean, it can go through 2 bodies, so maybe you can blow the lung right out of 2 bodies.
I'm gonna hit the road. All right. Wow, 6 people to make a 9mm pistol. Very tight-knit family making a very deadly weapon.
Oh, more calico content. This is the 22 M100.
What is up, you sexy YouTube mother lovers? My name is Brandon Herrera, and this
How
is
old
now
is this?
probably
3 years.
the weirdest gun I own.
Is it though? The test range. the test range was like an undeveloped lot behind the building, it looked like.
The hell? It's like the goofiest stock ever.
Yeah, these foldable, adjustable stocks. I have a friend who has this gun, and these are awful. These are terrible. This is the Spaceballs blaster, though.
So this is the Calico M100. If you don't know what this is, you're probably surprised at just how damn goofy this thing looks. And if you do know what this is, then you already know how damn goofy it looks. But this little 22
Only slightly
Calico
less sketchy
and this
than the
entire
literal
family of
hole in the wall.
rifles, period,
Gunshops
has really
used to
earned
work at.
its spot in the halls of gun design history, and we're going to tell you why.
I mean, they were kind of out in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, so that undeveloped lot is probably up against miles of nothing. So
because
it was
it's
probably
fucking
fine.
weird. That's why. So let's get into what exactly this thing is. So of course this is the Calico M100. It's a 22 caliber rifle. And frankly, it just looks like you took a Ruger 1022, bred it with an M16, and exposed that bastard child to massive amounts of radiation. So the actual operation of the gun's pretty simple. It is a direct blowback 22 caliber rifle. 22 LR compared to rifle calibers, and really even pistol calibers, doesn't carry that much energy, and the projectile itself is really light, allowing you to easily do direct blowback, because there's really no reason to make it gas operated or roller delay or anything like that, because there's really not that much back pressure. Direct blowback, of course, just means the only thing stopping this gun from exploding
is the Intel
your bolt weight
1022 M16 and
spring.
radiation.
That's literally it. There's no locking mechanism at all.
Not what I
like
would
said,
compare it to.
LR, you don't really need one. But aside from that, there's more to it that makes it different. And
maybe the M16, like if you squint really hard, like right after you, like the instant you've woken up and like you can't process things very well. But
And not just the fact
the
that it
radiation,
looks like something,
I think. You need a lot of that.
A blaster rifle from a knockoff Star Wars. Which, by the way, it was actually a blaster rifle in a knockoff Star Wars. The fact that this thing looks like a shitty knockoff, like sci-fi blaster rifle, has probably helped it out a lot, because this thing has been in a lot of media, especially in like the 80s and 90s. Calico family of rifles was in like Terminator 2, Star Trek, First Contact, all sorts of shit. Total Recall, RoboCops 2 and 3, even James Bond. But its wacky appearance is actually somewhat functional. So let's go ahead.
It's also in Girls Frontline and Fate Zero, as well as Gun Gale Online.
And talk about the elephant in the room.
Calicos in general.
This tumor in the rear of the gun. As you can tell by our cutting edge montage, this is actually the magazine. So we squeeze both these buttons here on both sides, and this pops up. And you have actually a somewhat less weird looking gun and your helical magazine. Now, what is a helical magazine? Your traditional magazine will just stack bullets on top of each other all the way down the body with, a follower and a spring down there to keep tension on it, to constantly have the rounds being pushed to the top, stopped by the feed lips. This is 99% of magazines in existence. Calico, sometime in the 70s or 80s, decided, nah. So what they did is called a helical magazine. That's exactly the way it sounds. It's actually a helix that spirals around the body of the magazine on the inside. I'll put a photo up here so you guys actually know what I'm talking about, and you can get that kind of dumbfounded look off your face. But it's a really interesting way to get more capacity out of these mags without making them stupid long.
You're not going to take it apart for us?
Drum on the bottom of the
Mr.
gun.
Gunsmith?
Kind of a moderately large long drum on top of the gun. Okay, it's not perfect, but its helical design is what allows you to get more bang for your buck out of a magazine like this. In fact, to the tune of about 100 rounds. Now, getting 100 rounds out of this without having a failure, that's kind of optimistic. This thing doesn't run super well, at least from my experience. And
the 22s are supposed to be able to run way better than the 9s.
Feeding problems, but I will say, to the Calico's credit,
they are
the
direct
magazines
blowback.
Didn't seem to be the source of any of the problems.
Direct blowback, much simpler.
Most of them were ammo related or just general 22 LR shenanigans. Now, some of you AK
Just
guys
like the
or all
PP
around
Bison.
gun nerds
Very
might
similar.
know the helical magazine from A, well, the Calico, but B, the PP19 Bison.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
Bison, the PP. It's an AK variant of the PP19, much like the Vitchaz, but it had a helical magazine instead of on the rear top of the gun, on the front of the gun, facing forward instead of backward. I could also just show you a picture. Basically, you tension this magazine a little bit with this little spinny boy right here, and just enough for the follower to pop up, and then you load the magazine now that it has tension on it, and then you give this, like, I think anywhere between 12 to 15 rotations. The amount of varying information about this on the internet is a little scary. I've been told that if you crank down on
Varying information. You can download the instruction manual. You don't need to read some guy's Reddit comment about it.
So good idea to keep an eye on how many rotations you do. And if you want to relieve tension off it, you just press this button and it releases. Helical magazines. They're fucking cool. Anyway, handguards, like said, kind of like a shrunken down M16 kind of look with that, I don't know. This is like if a kid drew the front end of an M16. Kind of like that A2 sight block looking thing here, and a wacky blaster rifle.
How have I never
muzzle brake
noticed
too,
that this is literally just a thumb screw? How have I never noticed that it's a thumb screw to adjust your elevation? Just on the bottom. Wow. You think this guy reads manuals? I do not.
Sight block looking thing here, and a wacky blaster rifle looking muzzle brake, you know, for all of that insane recoil you get off of 22 long rifle. Really help rifle looking muzzle brake, you know, for all of that
Muzzle
insane
brake?
recoil.
No. Nope. This is purely a molded piece of plastic around the barrel. There's not even a hole in it.
You get off of 22 long rifle really helps keep it flat shooting. Your pistol grip here slides for some reason. Skittle storage
It's for Skittles, for sure.
Now for the grand finale. An impressive superlative. One of the worst stocks I've ever seen in my life. Kind of nifty, but they kind of forgot human proportion. In fact, this entire gun is kind of designed by somebody who doesn't know how people hold things. Handguard shrunk down, which means it's pretty much, you could just manhandle the hell out of it. Like, really, it's tiny. But this stock, man, this is just flat out uncomfortable. You can kind of get a cheek weld, but if you try to push down on it, it's just bent, sharp sheet metal. It's a little too long in that configuration, but if you shorten it down, now it is a little too short.
Welcome.
So there's no Goldilocks, just right setting. That's just enough to be really awkward. I'm sure there's a couple people out there that really like this, and those people are wrong. But also, yeah, just to tear it down, you got this little push button there, or to fold it back up. This push button goes right back like that, and then you push this lever up top. This all just folds back under the gun, and you have a really cool looking space age piece of equipment. Overall, it's pretty neat just because it's just so damn unique. That's one way to describe it. But that's enough of the nerd talk for some of you ADD fucks out there, so let's go out back to the range and shoot this thing a little bit more.
So we're back out on the range now to do something that might just be a first for this channel. A White Claw penetration test that's actually kind of a penetration test. It's 22. Let's see what happens.
Spoiler alert, I think a 22 can go through a can.
As my large Kentuckian friend might say, it's watermelon time. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that came back so much more than normal. But at least it smells good.
He just took a shower.
A squirter or two, but that was a little excessive. Anyhow.
You want one now? Mark 17
we have our
shiny.
entrance here.
Yeah, the Sword International guns are pretty neat.
The rear. That's actually kind of interesting. So the exit is
smaller
smaller
than
the
neat
entrance.
Price tag as well.
Probably not a lot of energy left at the end of that, but well, yeah, we'll see. Probably a lot of it is the carbonation of the White Claw itself and all of the energy going into it from the front. You know, the massive amounts of energy you get out of fucking 22 long rifle. But already having a hole out front, it probably ripped out the front more so than the rear, because you had more pressure inside the can during the flight time. Whatever, man, I'm not a fucking scientist. All right, now just to satisfy my curiosity, we're gonna try shooting 2 claws in a row. From probably more than point blank. All right, White Claw destruction in 3, 2, 1. That was pretty cool, actually. Got the shell casing there that I always forget are hot.
Well, you got both of them.
Yeah, rip through 2, no problem. That's actually kind of interesting. If this was a demo ranch video, we'd kind of tear off on a tangent about how many White Claws will a 22 LR go through. Which I'm not convinced he hasn't already done. Just for shiggles, let's try 3.
For what? For what are we doing this for?
Just for shiggles, let's try 3.
For shiggles.
That's the power of the Home Depot right there.
He's gonna have to take a shower after this.
Now I'm just genuinely curious. So we've got 6 White Claws lined up, or as I call it, breakfast. Let's see how many it'll go through.
That was dumb.
3, 2, 1. All right, we finally stopped.
Less than 6.
The legendary 22 long rifle cartridge.
5. I think it was 5.
Might have caught the bullet. So it stopped in the 5th White Claw.
Looks like the Mark 17 might be law enforcement only.
No, we actually didn't catch it. What the hell? Because it went in, but it didn't exit, but it's not in the can. That was a neat little science experiment. Now I feel like we're actually learning things together, which we never get to do around here. So yeah, I know what you're thinking. This isn't an AK, but still, I think
afford it, but
it's
still.
a cool piece to own and a really interesting part of firearm design history.
I don't know if they still do.
I'm all about.
Sword International used to name all their stuff after like Norse mythology. So you can you get the Sword International, like Mjolnir was one of them.
Well, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It was at least educational for you, and if not educational, then at least a little entertaining. But anyways, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. It does help us in the algorithm, and I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video with the next weird gun.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top.
Meow? What? Why are we meowing? Mjolnir. Not meow meow.
22s, you know. They're a little finicky. Try that again. As Grantham says,
the one Marvel Thor movie. The student chick calls it meow meow.
Fuck! If you already know what it is.
Oh my god, I didn't even remember that.
You already know how damn good. Fuck me. God damn it.
Oh, was that Thor the Dark World? I haven't seen that movie in forever. Someone dropped a slide on an empty chamber.
Good take.
I don't know what he's complaining about.
If you already know what it is, then, well, you already know how damn good. Fuck me. God.
Oh, he just tripped over his tongue.
Good take.
All right. Any other Calico media that we must brain rot ourselves on? Ooh, Mac. Mac full auto test. 25-second video.
First gen Calico Mac full auto.
17 years. The Calico Mac 10 Upper has been around for 17 years. Mac 22, 16 years ago. Oh my, like no recoil. Oh. That's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. You paid for half a Shockwave? Ratings if you don't want, because you ended up not liking them? So you're gonna have one of those in a couple months? You're gonna have a half a Shockwave? Very nice. I have a not a Shockwave. What's the nomenclature they use for the Cruiser? The Cruiser is the 18-inch barrel one. I have one of those. I've got the tactical breacher model. Very cool. Very, very fun gun. Useful, but not really. I'm not really breaching many doors. But it's cool. It's neat. Oh, it makes you way happier than the TriStar you traded off? Oh no. Did you buy the TriStar during the pandemic? When everyone was buying their TriStars. Those things are terrible. It was a bonus free gun. Oh, so right after the pandemic. Right after all the good guns that people actually wanted to buy started coming back, and no one could sell the TriStars anymore. It wasn't bad, you just didn't like it. Yeah, TriStar TriStar sure stepped in to sell stuff during the pandemic. Now, doesn't TriStar make 1911s now too? Spring assisted pump. Spring assisted pump is stupid. TriStar arms. Oh, I forgot about the TriStar bullpup. How could I forget? They do make pistols as well. How could I forget about the TriStar bullpup? And these things are horrible looking. Although if I could get just the carry handle, I would. I did actually send them an email asking if I could only buy the carry handle, and they told me no. Which, honestly, is better than some companies who I send emails to asking about weird stuff like that. Because they actually responded. Even though they were telling me no. So, I guess a little props there. The carry handle's neat. I would like the carry handle only. Buy it so you can buy the carry handle off of me? No. I'll buy it and sell you the shotgun without the carry handle. The carry handle is the only thing I want. Oh, yes. Yes, something like this. Oh, this is... RDB 20. Okay, but this carry handle on like a Tavor. Some potential. No? What do you mean no? What do you mean no? I think it looked good. Huxworks Flow 556K? Where? Oh, there it is. Manticore already sells a Tavor carry handle, but this one. But this one specifically. Barska 2X Prism. Who is Barska? Never even heard of Barska. Oh, it's a Amazon special. Amazon special. $150 prism scope. How? What do you mean how? How have I never heard of Barska? Partly because you may notice I don't buy optics. Barska's airsoft tier and trash tier at that. Well, then why would I know about it? Why am I gonna know about airsoft sites? When I do look at sites, I look at ones that are like for guns. It's so bad. I mean, I can tell by the Amazon price tag. That's cheaper than a Monstrum. And I have a Monstrum because it was on a really good sale. And honestly, it hasn't broken yet, so better than I expected. But the Manticore Tavor carry handle. First of all, out of stock. Second of all, does not look anywhere close to as sci-fi as the TriStar one. Nowhere near as sci-fi. Oh, this will only fit on the X95 or 7, not the SAR? I have the SAR. You're recommending me stuff that I can't even use. Unbelievable. Barska isn't marketed for airsoft. They're supposed to be for actual firearms. Mm-hmm. How about Gunbroker? Anyone selling TriStar carry handles on Gunbroker? Nope. Oh, someone's selling the whole gun for $500. You can get a $500 carry handle and then throw the gun in the garbage. Reread Manticore? Already closed it. Maybe go back to it. Oh, this will not fit the X95 or 7, only the SAR. Oh. Well, reading has never been my strong suit. It's also out of stock, so even if I was gonna get it, I couldn't. Barska has been around since before Amazon Optic Tier was a thing. They were Amazon Optics before it was cool. I mean, it's still not cool, but Amazon Optic before it was popular. What is wrong with Manticore's website? Hold on. They got their nice front page here. You go down like, oh, what's this? What's this? I'm curious. Well, it's too bad. It's too bad. Well, maybe how about this one? Some kind of charging handle? Oh, nope. Too bad. Website broke. Only recently became out of stock. Was still available within the last month. Well, too bad it's gone. And too bad it's not the TriStar carry handle. Because that's the only thing TriStar has that I would consider buying, and they won't sell it to me. I should watch the used TriStar bullpups on Gunbroker, and if one sits there for too long, I should message them and offer to buy only the carry handle. Carry handle? What is this? Why? Why? Why would you do this to me? So I heard you like carry handles. That's awful. And 3D printed AR as well. Homemade fish gun. But it doesn't have anything down here. You need something down here to be a fish gun. This is like the top half of a fish. Only the top half of a fish. Even the stock is 3D printed. Well, you can buy a stock for like 15 bucks. You paid more in filament to make this stock than you could just buy one. It's awful. It's gross. Long. It is very long. It is definitely long. Do I have a 3D printer? I do. I do. This is not something that I have hidden. I do own a 3D printer. I'm not super into like 3D printing guns. I mostly 3D print like trinkets. Such as, but not limited to, Death Whistle. What's a good model? Now you are getting into things that are far above my head. I am not a serious 3D printer. My 3D printer is calibrated just enough so that it works. Aztec Death Whistle? Yes, that is what this is. It works okay. Let's see. The Death Whistle. It's probably not even going to sound good in the mic. You also have to just dump a whole lung full of air into this thing. And it's midnight. It's midnight. Just saw it though. What did you just see? Let's see. That is true. That is true. You did just see it. There it is. There you go. If you ask earlier, if I stream earlier, like when I stream earlier, if you ask, then I'll blow it for you. The whistle. We're just gonna forget about that. Does it freak out the puppers? It does. It does. And the puppers are currently already asleep. So I'm not trying to change that. Clip ship download. Out of context clips. Yeah, it is cool. And that is what I use a 3D printer for. I've never seriously 3D printed a gun. If I'm gonna make my own gun from scratch, it's still going to be made out of metal. Just because it's better. And I can, so why wouldn't I? You still need to set yourself a workspace. If you can, your 3D printer, get a nice box for it to contain the heat. 3D printer makes a lot of heat. And if you don't do that, I mean, even if you do, but if you don't, even more, get a little box to put over it. It is literally just a space heater, which is not wonderful. I already have one of those. It's called my PC. You need that anyway to keep out cat hair. Good. You'll be using it to print bolt-ons, like accessories and stuff. That's probably okay. Oh my goodness. Why does my YouTube slop content video editing practice have over 100 views? I'm so sorry. All right, it is, however, almost been streaming 3.5 hours, and it is after midnight. And I do unironically need to fix my sleep schedule. So I think we're probably gonna call it a little earlier than usual. So I can try to sleep. Probably what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna, lay in bed for 6 hours. But I do think we're going to raid out, end a little early, so I can try and fix my sleep schedule. So, who do we raid today? Who cool is online at this time? Like 3 or 4 hours earlier than I usually end stream. We could raid Leaf. Leaf is doing some spicy React content, it looks like. I do think that's what we're gonna do. So we're going to raid Leaflet, who's currently React Andying to to spicy content on YouTube. Not like lewd spicy. Hot button issue kind of spicy. So get a enclosed BAMU, enclosed Keydi, Crailty K1. That is more 3D printer brands than I would be able to list off the top of my head, so you probably know more than I do. But we are raiding out. We are going to raid Leaflet. I will be back tomorrow, I think. Yes, tomorrow. Be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is the TBD stream. And also, release day for the PSA DOE upper. Saturday, we have Vup chat. And on Sunday, we will be building an AK on stream, which will be very cool. It's a wooden AK, but it's still very cool. So, until next time, thank you everyone for stopping by. Oh, we have raid messages. We have raid messages. But thank you everyone for stopping by, hanging out today.